Here's a statistic that should stop you in your tracks. The median household income of someone filing for personal bankruptcy in the United States is over $60,000 a year. $60,000. That's above the national median income. And in my own practice, I sat across executives making $300,000 a year, people with impressive titles, beautiful homes, nice cars, who had less than 2 months' expenses saved up and were one bad quarter, one layoff, or one medical event away from serious financial trouble. More income does not automatically mean more wealth. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why and what the executives who actually build real wealth do differently. This is what's known as the lifestyle creep problem. And if your income has gone up significantly in the past 5 years, there's a very good chance it's already happening to you. So what is lifestyle creep exactly? It's simple. Your expenses expand to match your income. Every time you get a raise, a bonus, a promotion, instead of that money going to savings or investments, it quietly gets absorbed into your lifestyle. A nicer apartment, a newer car, more dinners out, better vacations, a second vacation, private school, a country club membership, you name it. None of these things are bad on their own, and trust me, I believe in enjoying the life that you work hard for. The problem is when they happen automatically, when spending rises in lockstep with income without any conscious decision being made, when you earn more but you never actually feel like you have more, because it's already spoken for. There's a psychological concept behind this called the hedonic adaptation. It means humans are remarkably good at adjusting to new circumstances, including better ones. The $80,000 a year car that felt like an indulgence the first month becomes just a car by month 3. The $5,000 a month apartment becomes just home. The new baseline resets and the old lifestyle feels unlivable. And then there's social comparison. Executives tend to socialize with other executives. When everyone around you is upgrading their life, non-upgrading starts to feel like you're falling behind. This is one of the most powerful and least talked about forces in personal finance. Lifestyle creep is especially dangerous for high earners because the jumps are bigger. A promotion that adds $80,000 a year to your salary isn't a gradual change, it's a sudden influx that creates immediate spending pressure. A large bonus hits your account and it feels like found money, or RSUs vest and suddenly you feel wealthier than you are. Each of these moments are an inflection point, and most people spend them instead of investing them. Let me show you the math because this is where it gets real. Let's take two executives. Both are 40 years old. Executive A earns $150,000 a year and saves 20% of their income, $30,000 a year. Executive B earns $400,000 a year but only saves 10%, or $40,000 a year. Executive B saves more in raw dollars, but their savings rate is half of the Executive A. And here's why that matters enormously. Executive B has built a lifestyle that costs roughly $360,000 a year to maintain, while Executive A has a lifestyle that costs about $120,000. When they both retire at 65, Executive B needs a retirement portfolio that can sustain $360,000 a year in withdrawals. Using the 4% rule, that's a $9 million target, where Executive A would only need $3 million. Executive B is saving harder in dollar terms, but is falling behind their retirement target every year. They've built golden handcuffs into their own lifestyle. Now, let's look at the compounding cost of lifestyle creep at the margin. Say you get $5,000 a month raise. You could save it, and that's $60,000 a year invested at 8% over 20 years becomes roughly $2.97 million. Or you could spend it, a nicer lease, upgraded apartment, more travel. In that case, it becomes zero. The cost of that one lifestyle decision compounded over 20 years is nearly $3 million. That's the number that should be in your head every time your income goes up. Is what is it going to cost me in the future? The insidious thing about lifestyle creep is that it rarely feels like a decision. It hides in plain sight. Here's where I see it most with high-income clients. Number one is housing. This is the biggest one. Every time income rises, there's pressure to upgrade the house. The starter home becomes embarrassing. The nice neighborhood becomes an expected one. Housing is the single largest driver of lifestyle creep for executives, and it's the hardest to reverse because it's tied up in identity, neighborhood, school districts, and even status. Number two is no surprise, but cars. Car payments that make sense now are a classic trap. A $1,200 a month lease felt absurd 5 years ago. Now it's just Tuesday. Cars depreciate. They generate zero wealth. And yet, they're one of the most socially visible signs of success, which makes them irresistible to lifestyle creep. Number three is private schools and activities. Once your kids are in private school, taking them out feels like deprivation. Add sports, music, tutoring, travel patterns. It's not uncommon for high-income families to spend $80,000 to $100,000 a year on children's education activities without ever making a single deliberate decision to do so. It just accumulated. Is subscriptions and services. This one is death by a thousand cuts. Housekeeping, meal delivery, multiple streaming services, premium gym memberships, wine clubs, concierge medicine, personal trainers. Each one is $50, $200, or $500 a month, and together they quietly add up to thousands. And because they're automatic, they're invisible. The next is pure spending. This is the one that nobody talks about. When you're surrounded by people at your income level, their spending becomes the reference point. The group trip to Italy, the ski house, the bottle service at a work event, saying no feels awkward. Going along feels normal, but it's not your money, it's your future. I want to share a client story that I think will resonate. A few years ago, I started working with a VP at a large financial services firm. Great guy, incredibly successful by any external measure. Big title, beautiful home in a nice suburb, kids in private school, the whole picture. When we sat down and actually mapped out his finances, the numbers told a different story. His household was earning about $450,000 a year between his salary, bonus, and his wife's income. Their monthly expenses were $28,000 a month. Mortgage, 2 car leases, private school tuition, 3 kids, a housekeeper, regular travel, dining out several times a week, all totally normal for their peer group. But they were saving less than 8% of their gross income. They had about $400,000 in retirement accounts, respectable on its own, but nowhere near what they needed given the lifestyle they built. And they had almost no liquid savings outside of retirement accounts. If his bonus didn't come through one year, they were in trouble. He genuinely didn't know. Not because he wasn't smart, he was one of the sharpest people I've ever met. But because when you're living it, it doesn't feel like a problem. It just feels like your life. So we rebuilt his plan from the ground up. Automated savings before the money hit his checking account, refinanced the mortgage, turned one of the car leases into a purchase, redirected $8,000 a month that had been disappearing into discretionary spending into investments. Within 3 years, his net worth had grown more than it had in the previous decade. The income was always there, the plan just wasn't. So how do you actually fix something like this? Well, here are 4 things that I like to try that I believe work. Number 1, and the most important, is pay yourself first. You've probably heard this a million times. I think this is the single most important habit in personal finance, and especially critical for high earners. The idea is simple. Before your paycheck hits your checking account, a predetermined amount of money should be automatically redirected into savings and investments. Your 401k contribution, your Roth IRA, your brokerage account, all of it moves automatically on payday. You can't spend what isn't there. And then what's left is what you live on, not the other way around. When saving is automatic, you never adapt to having the money. You can't spend what you don't see. This one change done consistently is worth more than any budgeting app or financial tracking spreadsheet. Number 2 is something that I like to call the 50% rule for income increases. Every time your income goes up, raise, bonuses, RSUs vest, anything, make a rule with yourself. 50% goes to savings and investments, and 50% can go to lifestyle. So save half of your bonus, half of your RSUs, half of a pay raise, whatever it is. This rule does 2 things. It lets you actually enjoy your success. You're not being told to deprive yourself, but it forces a conscious decision every time income increases, rather than letting it all flow automatically into spending. If you get a $30,000 raise, $15,000 goes to investments permanently. The other $15,000 you can use to upgrade your life. That's a reasonable trade-off. Number 3, track net worth, not income. Here's a mindset shift that changes everything. Stop measuring your financial success by what you earn and start measuring it by what you keep. Because at the end of the day, to be financially free, that's what actually matters. Your net worth, assets minus liabilities, is your only number that actually reflects your financial health. Income is just the input. Net worth should be the output. I recommend tracking your net worth quarterly. Write it down, watch it grow or not grow. When your net worth is your primary metric, spending decisions start to feel different. The $80,000 car isn't just a monthly payment, it's an $80,000 reduction in your net worth on day 1, and it keeps falling from there. Number 4, separate identity from spending. This is more of a psychological thing, so I think it's the hardest one, but I also think it's the most important. A lot of high income spending is identity spending. The car, the neighborhood, the club, the watch. These are signals to the world and to yourself about who you are and what you've achieved. That's very human. But when your identity is entirely wrapped up in your spending, you can't cut back without feeling like it's a loss of yourself. The executives I've seen build genuine, lasting wealth tend to have one thing in common. Their identity is tied to their net worth and their financial independence, not their consumption. They find that their $3 million portfolio is much more satisfying than the newer car. That reframe from what I spend to what I own is the psychological foundation of everything else. Here's the bottom line. Lifestyle creep is not a character flaw. It's not a sign that you're irresponsible or bad with money. It's completely natural. It's a predictable human response to rising income, and it happens to smart, successful people all the time. The fact that you're watching a video like this means you've already ahead of most people. But awareness isn't enough. The fix requires structure, automated savings, a rule for income increases, net worth as your North Star, and an honest look at which parts of your spending are generally making your life better and which ones are just keeping up. If you want help building that structure, a real financial path that accounts for your income, your equity comp, your tax situation, and where you actually want to end up, that's exactly what I do. The link to book a free consultation is in my description. If this resonated, subscribe. New video every week. Financial planning for executives and entrepreneurs, the stuff that actually moves the needles. And I'll see you in the next one.